Hello, it is a very, very windy Monday morning, and I am going to go hang out with my mother. I was talking to my mom about her diagnosis with ARVC, which I've touched on very lightly in past videos, but never really gone into detail about. And she was telling me how it's kind of been frustrating that it's very, very hard to find any representation or information online about it. And I have this perfect outlet to actually show you guys what her experience has been like, what the experience has been like for me. So I am going over there. We are going to make brownies and kind of talk about life on the heart transplant list. Okay, so we made a couple stops. I got the Ghirardelli double chocolate brownie mix because it's the only one that I will eat lately. It's so good. Have you had it?
I've definitely had it, but you weren't supposed to tell the secret about it.
Oh yeah, we were gonna pretend that it was homemade, but this is the key to a good brownie. It gets that nice flaky, well, it might not.
Flaky top.
Does it if you substitute it?
Only if you substitute it just right.
Okay. Because if you don't substitute any of the ingredients, you get a really nice flaky top. And then we also got cream cheese frosting. There's nothing beats cream cheese frosting.
I mean, and you could make your own cream cheese frosting, sure.
Oh, we
but
could.
Why?
Dang, we should have pretended that we did the cream cheese frosting too. And then we went to Target. I got like a little matching, I don't know, would you call it a pajama set?
I would just call it a set.
It's just like a matching sweat set, I guess. Little quarter zip. It's like a staple. I have so many things that are either quarter zip or like the buttons. And then these are the pants that go with it. Just nice wintertime post-skiing outfit. I'm excited about it. Show us what you got.
Guys, these are the only Christmas jammies to get. I love the black and white. I love the little trees. They're the most comfortable jammies. Run. Don't walk. Run to Target and get these. These are the best.
I like rarely wear pajamas. I just wear like a t-shirt and joggers. And if I am going to wear like actual pajamas, it's the Stars Above ones.
Always.
They're
Stars
so
Above.
soft.
Look at these cute pants. Look at the little details, the floral
it's not like
detail.
overwhelming details.
No,
too.
it's just enough detail. These will be for Paige's sister. We love to dress her, buy her clothes. That's why we have little sisters, right?
That's what I was gonna say. That's the best part of having a little sister.
And then look at this. I've never seen anything like this. This is the cutest thing. Look at the little fox.
Like, yeah, are they
They're
foxes?
foxes, little embroidered foxes. And I love the color. It's perfect for a cozy fall, winter day. Tomorrow it's supposed to be rainy and cold here. So
Dang.
that's the perfect thing.
Nice.
And then can we discuss sweats?
Yeah, so we need to have a
Let's discuss
discussion.
sweatpants.
Sexism in sweatpants and pants in general.
Right. Now go
What?
to your closet. Pull out some sweatpants. Pull out your favorite sweatpants. Sure, you're going to have pockets in the front. But are you going to find a pocket in the back? Raise your hand if you want a pocket in the back of your sweats. Come on, who
I
doesn't?
think it's every woman wants the most amount of pockets without looking like a cargo short.
Yeah, you don't want cargos, but everyone wants a phone pocket.
Yeah, these ones don't have that back pocket.
So sneak over to the men's department. You'll find a back pocket in every one of their sweatpants, and they're cheaper.
They're cheaper. We went and compared like sweatpants that are pretty much the same thing. You're getting more fabric for less price and more convenience. How is that fair? And then
they're
also,
just sweatpants.
We've always talked about, I feel like pants have gotten better with the front pocket being
They
sewn
have.
shut. With the skinny jeans, it was really bad. But now that skinny jeans aren't seen as much, I
They're
feel
not
like
the
you're
staple
getting,
now.
you're getting the front pocket more. But that was a huge problem for so long. There's
With skinny jeans and low rise.
oh yes, no front pocket, all just sewn shut. They have like the fake front pocket. So you know they could have one, but they
Right.
don't. Ridiculous. Yeah, so why do we not have the amount of pockets as men? How is that fair? We have more stuff to carry.
Give us a back pocket. That's all. That's
Give
all
me
we
a back pocket or give me death. Okay, so we have our ingredients ready. We've got our Ghirardelli box mix. Told you about it before. It says it requires water, an egg, and oil. So we have our egg, and then we're switching it up a little bit on the oil. Do you want to tell them about that?
So I know, and this is just purely experimentation. Comment down below if you know any good experimental substitutions for cooking, for baking specifically. We're gonna swap out half the oil for this light sour cream, and the reason we're doing that is, first of all, I only have olive oil.
I feel like you always only have
olive oil. So I want to save some of that. So we're gonna use a quarter of a cup of olive oil and a quarter a cup of this. But also, I have heard people talk about putting sour cream in their baked goods.
It's probably good.
Gives it a good texture.
Yeah.
And I've done it in cake, but I've never done it in brownies.
I've done it in cake too. I did it for my 19th birthday cake. I think I put sour cream in it.
I say let's give it a shot.
Let's do it. Why not?
It's still gonna be brownies. So.
Yeah. Either way, I feel like you can't go wrong with a box mix. Anyway, so while we bake, we wanted to talk. You've had quite the last year. So we're coming up on 1 year of your diagnosis in like, what, a week and a half, 2 weeks?
Yes. Yep.
That's crazy. So I mentioned in my like cross-country move to Boston video that you're in the hospital, but I didn't want to like get hung up on it, so it was literally just in passing. So you're gonna have to tell them what's been going on, because I don't think I've actually ever talked about what it really is in any videos.
So a year ago, I had a scary cardiac episode, and my heart went into
scissors.
That one. My heart went into a dangerous rhythm called ventricular tachycardia, and I had to go to the emergency room and have a procedure called a cardioversion done. That's where they synchronize the rhythm of your heart with those, those scary looking paddles you see on TV all the time.
Yeah, you only see them on TV, I swear.
Yeah, they do that, and it resynchronizes your heart to the right rhythm. Shortly after that, they diagnosed me with a genetic heart disease called arrhythmogenic right ventricular cardiomyopathy, or arrhythmogenic cardiomyopathy. And I guess because I'm of a certain age and I've had this disease long enough, it has progressed to a level that they feel that heart transplantation is the best option at this point. So as of June, I've been on the heart transplant waiting list.
So it took a while to get to that heart transplant even being a subject. I had no idea a heart transplant was even like on the table until, I don't remember when specifically, but it was definitely ski season. So it probably would have been like January, February maybe, before I even heard heart transplant mentioned at all. So I didn't know that was a thing. I thought like, okay, so she's gonna get her pacemaker and then we'll manage with medications, and that is that. I didn't even know that was a thing. So it was just kind of like, came out of nowhere. Did you know that was a thing from the very get-go?
No, I had no idea that was even a thing. In fact, when I was first diagnosed, the doctor's like, this is not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Like, he said, women traditionally don't have it as bad as men, and you can expect to live well into your 70s.
Yeah.
And so I kind of took that to heart, but also in all of the reading I did not read about heart transplantation being even an option. And Dad was the one who started raising the question of, is this something we do a heart transplant for?
Yes, like I remember we were driving up skiing. Driving up skiing is always when we do our like most of our talking. And I remember him saying like, yeah, I asked the doctor about heart transplant, and I was like, why are you asking about that? That's weird. That's out of left field. But here we are.
It was actually,
you've been on the list.
In the beginning of April, we spoke with a doctor who actually told us that he had done heart transplants for people with this disease, and that it could possibly be in the future based on my diagnosis. And it was the same doctor that when I was hospitalized the end of April, he came in the room and said, no, this is something we've talked about. Now it's time to start thinking about a heart transplant.
Yeah, so that's been quite the experience. So what was like the straw that broke the camel's back that they said, okay, time to go? time for the heart transplant?
They call it a VT storm.
Okay.
So when my heart in April started going into ventricular tachycardia over and over and over again, and then went back to the hospital and had another cardioversion, and my heart instantly went back into VTAC.
So this was all happening during my move, right?
Yeah, so right before and during your move.
Okay, so yeah, tell them about that situation.
So I ended up back in the hospital with this uncontrolled ventricular tachycardia where I was on different medications to try and control it. And they kind of have, layers of medication that they try. And the final medication is amiodarone. And even the amiodarone wasn't stopping me from going back into VTAC.
It was so stressful. That was not a good time.
No, it was very stressful.
It was a really stressful time. It was like day 2 of the move where we all got on the call with the heart transplant team. So when you get put on the heart transplant list, like what is that like? Like, what is the progression of things to actually get on the list?
So I feel like that's different for every person.
Okay. How was it for you? Yeah.
For me, that doctor I saw in April, I think was subtly doing an evaluation.
Okay.
Based on just my diagnosis. He just thought this is what we're going to have to do down the road. We might as well start the process. So the first test, they did an overnight pulse oximetry where they measured my oxygen levels overnight. I was told it was just to find out if that's why I was tired. Like I was complaining about being tired all the time. And he said, let's figure out why. Let's do this test. Yeah. I found out later that's actually part of the transplant evaluation.
Okay.
Then the next one was VO2 max test.
Yes, I remember you doing that one.
Yeah. And my VO2 max test came out great for someone who's not athletic.
Yeah.
But I had been athletic and it had dropped by half.
Yeah, we haven't talked about like your past at all, so I feel like you were known for like being the most active person around town. Like,
did you put?
I just did egg and water. So like hosting workout classes, you did bar,
half marathons.
You're a runner. You did high fitness. You're all over the place doing all the things.
Yeah,
and so I think it was really shocking for people to hear that anything was wrong, which was really frustrating because for years you've had little issues that kind of got brushed. Like they were told that it was no big deal because you acted perfectly fine.
Yeah, I've always had an arrhythmia.
Yeah.
I always knew I had an arrhythmia, but I was always told that it wasn't dangerous and not to worry about it. Mm-hmm. So I just kind of, whenever it would flare up on me, I would just kind of put it in the back of my mind and say, this is fine. This is just how my heart behaves.
They always told me it's nothing serious. Where it's one of those like invisible illnesses where nobody really knows what's actually going on. You almost got overlooked again when all of this happened.
Yes. The doctor we initially went to after the big scary episode a year ago kept saying, oh, I don't think it is I don't think it's ventricular tachycardia. I think it's a benign arrhythmia. We'll go in, we'll fix it, you'll be fine. And then when he actually got in there, so they do what's called a cardiac ablation, where they go through your veins into your heart and they burn any part of the heart that triggers an arrhythmia. Mm-hmm. And when he got in there is when they saw all the scar tissue and that it was in fact ventricular tachycardia happening. And that's when he said, let's send you for an MRI because I think it's this disease.
Which is just so hard because it brings up the question, if it had been caught sooner, would the damage be less?
Yeah, because this is a progressive disease that is worsened through physical activity or stress on the heart. So it could be a virus, it could be physical activity, it could be stress. All those things can worsen the disease.
Could pregnancy too?
Pregnancy. Anything that strains the heart can worsen the disease. And I had 4 pregnancies.
And we're the most active person ever.
Right.
But then that also brought up the frustrating part of when people heard that she was sick. They were like, oh, I'm so sorry, you won't be able to be active anymore. But it was this like misunderstanding of like, I don't think you understand the gravity of the situation, where it's not about my silly little activities. Like, yes, that's hard, but this is something that's usually found in autopsies.
Yes.
Like, I don't think people realize that, but it's not something you can just like tell people when they're trying to say they're sorry.
Right. I did get a lot of that in the very beginning. Oh, I'm sorry, but you'll find new hobbies.
Yeah.
As if like this only impacted my activity level.
Yeah.
As if that was all like, oh, don't worry. So you can't teach fitness classes.
Sorry about that.
You can't run half marathons anymore. That's too bad.
Yeah.
But it was so much more than that. It's like I could have died.
Yeah.
At any time.
Well, and even if that was the case where it was just activity levels, you're still grieving this life that you had.
It was
like, it's still a bigger deal than it sounds like.
Right. It's something I explained to Dad is I am not really a goal chaser type person. And I haven't like set a lot of goals and actually reached those goals.
Yeah.
But teaching fitness classes was a goal I set for myself. And I went through the steps to become certified to do that job. And I set up my studio and I recruited people for my classes. And you
have this image in your head of what you're going to do and what you're going to accomplish.
I made that goal happen for myself. And to have that after only, it took me years to get to where I was. And I was able to teach for 8 years.
Yeah,
and then to have that kind of taken away from me so quickly. I'll find new hobbies. But also,
that still was such a big accomplishment and part of your life.
Yeah.
And a group of friends.
Yes, it was my social life.
Yeah.
It was, I don't want to say it was my identity because I'm so much more than that.
But we build up these parts of us and it is part of your identity. Yeah. So like saying, I'm so sorry you can't work out. Yes, it really reduces what's going on, but also it is a big deal.
It is a big deal. But also, it's so much more than that. Sorry you can't work out anymore. Glad you didn't die.
Literally. I don't think people understood
how... you still don't die.
Literally. Yeah, I don't think people understand how close it was and how close it still is. And even if they do understand that, they don't want to mention it. It's kind of like an elephant in the room of like, well, you have doctors. They know what's going on.
Right.
So like, you're good. But there is still this fear, I'm sure, for you.
Oh, huge.
Yeah.
Huge. I mean,
there's still fear for all of us.
Think about what a heart transplant actually is. Think about that for a minute.